I was called before the alien queen. What she desired shocked me. Humanity had always known the day would come when the galaxy would truly notice them. What no one expected was how fast it happened, and how terrifying the attention would be. For decades, humans had been the newest species in the interstellar community. Not the strongest, not the richest, not the most advanced. They were tolerated, watched, and mostly ignored. Other species saw humans as clever, noisy, and unpredictable, but harmless compared to the ancient empires that ruled the stars. That illusion ended the day the message arrived. The signal did not come through normal diplomatic channels. It did not ask for permission. It appeared at the same moment on every human-controlled world, every station, every ship capable of receiving deep space transmissions. The message was short. The Queen summons one human. You will choose, you will comply. There was no signature, none was needed. Everyone knew who the Queen was. She ruled the Virelian Dominion, the oldest and most powerful civilization in known space. Her empire spanned thousands of systems. Her fleets had ended wars before they began. Species that had once challenged her no longer existed, remembered only in broken records and forbidden archives. The Queen did not negotiate, she decided. And now she had decided to summon a human. Panic followed. Human governments argued. Military leaders demanded defensive preparations. Religious groups called it Judgment Day. Scientists tried to analyze the signal and failed to understand even half of the technology behind it. One question echoed everywhere: why one human? In the end, humanity did what it always did in moments of fear and confusion. It compromised. They chose Elias Ward. Elias was not a general. He was not a famous hero or a legendary explorer. He was a diplomatic analyst, known for patience, careful listening, and an ability to explain human behavior in ways aliens could understand. That, more than anything else, was why he was chosen. If the Queen wanted a message, Elias would hear it. If she wanted submission, he would refuse carefully. If she wanted destruction, at least humanity would know why. The journey to the Virelian capital took 3 weeks through space no human ship had ever entered. The escort vessel was not hostile, but it was impossible to ignore the power behind it. The alien ship moved without visible engines, bending space as if distance itself was optional. Elias spent most of the journey alone. No guards spoke to him, no threats were made. He was given food designed to match human biology perfectly, something that disturbed him more than hunger would have. It meant the Queen knew humans well, too well. When the ship finally arrived, Elias saw the capital world through the viewport. It was alive, not metaphorically. Literally, the planet's surface shifted slowly, like a breathing creature. Towers grew from the ground instead of being built. Massive organic structures curved toward the sky, glowing faintly with internal light. The atmosphere shimmered with energy fields no human instrument could fully explain. This was not a city. It was a throne. The ship descended into an opening that closed behind it like a mouth. Elias took a slow breath. So this is where empires end, he thought. He was guided through corridors that responded to movement, opening before him and sealing behind him without sound. The walls pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. It felt less like walking through a building and more like being inside something that was aware of him. At last, the corridors widened into a vast chamber, the throne room. Elias stopped walking, not because he was told to, but because his body refused to go further. The Queen was enormous. She rested upon a structure grown from the living floor, her form both beautiful and terrifying. She had multiple limbs folded neatly around her body, skin like dark crystal, eyes that reflected light in colors Elias had no names for. She did not wear a crown. She did not need one. Around her stood members of her court, tall, elegant beings with hardened expressions and sharp attention. Warriors, advisors, thinkers, all silent. Elias felt small, not physically, but historically. He realized he was standing before something that had watched stars be born and die. A voice filled the chamber, not loud, not soft, perfectly clear. "You are the human." Elias swallowed and nodded. "Yes, I am Elias Ward, representative of humanity." The Queen studied him. Her gaze was heavy like gravity. "You are not what my court expected." Elias forced himself to speak. "With respect, Your Majesty, humanity rarely is." A ripple moved through the court, not laughter but interest. The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly. "You do not kneel." "I was not instructed to," Elias said, "and if I may be honest, kneeling would not change who we are." Silence followed. For a long moment, Elias wondered if he had just ended his species. Then the queen did something no one expected. She dismissed the court. The others hesitated, clearly uncomfortable, but they obeyed. One by one, they left until the chamber was empty except for the queen and a single human. Elias felt exposed. "Do you know why you are here?" the queen asked. "No," Elias replied truthfully. "But I assume it is not to threaten us. If you wanted us gone, we would already be gone." The queen's gaze sharpened. "Correct." That single word sent a chill through Elias. "I did not summon you to judge humanity," she continued. "I summoned you because I have already judged you." Elias kept his voice steady. "And your judgment?" The queen shifted, her massive form adjusting with slow, controlled power. "Humanity survives where it should not." Elias frowned slightly. "We are not unique in that." "You are," she replied. "Other species adapt to environments, you adapt to failure." Elias said nothing. He realized with growing unease that this was not a negotiation. This was an examination. "I have observed your kind for a long time," the queen said. "Before you reached the stars, before you knew we existed." Elias' heart raced, but he kept listening. "You fracture, you argue, you compete, you destroy yourselves. With respect, your majesty, neither is ruling a living planet." For the first time, the queen made a sound that might have been amusement. "You speak as if you are unafraid." "I am afraid," Elias said honestly, "but fear has never stopped us from asking questions." Another pause. Then the queen asked the one thing Elias had not prepared for. "Tell me, human, what do you do when there is no winning move?" Elias did not answer immediately. He thought of human history, of lost wars, failed missions, broken worlds. Of people who kept going not because they believed they would win, but because stopping was worse. Finally, he said, "We try anyway." The queen stared at him, unblinking. "That," she said slowly. And Elias understood that whatever came next would not just change humanity, it would change the galaxy. The chamber remained dim after the queen's final words. Elias stood silently, his mind racing. He had expected threats, demands, maybe even anger. What he had not expected was curiosity. The queen did not speak for a long time. Elias wondered if this was another test. He kept his posture calm, his hands relaxed at his sides. Humans had learned long ago that silence could be as powerful as speech. Still, every second felt heavy, as if the air itself was waiting. At last, the queen moved. The living throne beneath her shifted, changing shape, so she sat lower, closer to Elias' level. It was a small change, but Elias noticed it immediately. "You remain steady," the queen said. "Most beings tremble by now." Elias answered carefully. "I am trained not to panic when I don't understand something." The queen's eyes glowed softly. "A useful trait," she replied. "One your species shows often." She rose from the throne. Elias tensed, but she did not advance. Instead, she began to move slowly around the chamber, each step controlled and precise. The floor responded to her presence, forming smooth paths beneath her limbs. "I have watched your people for many cycles," she said. "Long before your first signal reached the stars." Elias frowned. "That would mean before faster-than-light travel, before we even knew we were being watched." "Correct," the word echoed. Elias felt a cold realization settle in his chest. Humanity had always believed it had entered the galactic stage late, that it had arrived unseen, unnoticed. They had been wrong. "Why?" Elias asked. "Why watch us at all?" The queen stopped walking and turned to face him. "Because you did not develop as expected." Elias waited. "Most intelligent species follow patterns," she continued. "They stabilize, they remove chaos, they seek balance." She tilted her head slightly. "Humans do the opposite." Elias gave a small, uneasy smile. "We are not very good at balance." "You are excellent at imbalance," the queen said, "and yet you survive it." With a subtle motion, the air between them shifted. Light formed shapes, images suspended in space. Elias recognized them instantly, Earth, but not the peaceful blue world he knew. He saw storms tearing across continents, cities half buried by water, fires stretching across forests, wars fought with crude machines and desperate people. He swallowed. "You should have destroyed yourselves," the queen said calmly. "Many times," the images changed. Human colonies struggling on barren worlds, ships held together by repairs and hope, people adapting, failing, adapting again. "Instead," she continued, "new rules, new ways of thinking." "Failure," the queen said. That struck deeper than Elias expected. The queen returned to her throne but did not sit. She rested one limb against it, thoughtful. My people, she said. She gestured and new images formed. Ancient Violians, smaller, less refined, building imperfect structures, arguing, taking risks. We struggled, she said. We failed, we evolved. The images shifted again. Now the Violians were powerful, unified, efficient. Their cities flawless, their systems perfect, too perfect. And then, the queen said softly, no uncertainty. She looked directly at Elias. No growth. The word lingered. Elias understood then. This was not about conquest. It was about fear. Your empire is dying, Elias said quietly. The queen did not deny it. Not from war, she said. Not from disease. Yet you adapt faster than any species I have ever observed. Elias took a slow breath. Adaptation is not a choice for us, it is survival. The queen considered that. That, she said. Then the queen asked, do you know what my advisors recommend? Elias hesitated. No. They say humanity must be removed, she said plainly, before your influence spreads. Elias felt his chest tighten but did not interrupt. They fear your unpredictability, she continued. Your refusal to remain controlled. She stepped closer. They fear what you might teach others. Elias met her gaze. And what do you fear? The question echoed in the chamber. For a long moment the queen said nothing. Then, slowly, she answered. I fear a galaxy that no longer knows how to change. Elias felt the weight of that truth. I did not summon you to threaten humanity, the queen said. I summoned you to understand it. She paused. And perhaps, she added. Ask what? The queen turned away, gazing at the vast chamber. My people believe perfection is the end of all struggle, she said. Humans believe struggle is the beginning of something new. She looked back at him. I wish to know if that belief can be shared. Elias realized the danger in her words. Influence could be more powerful than weapons. If you ask us to change who we are, Elias said carefully, we can't. The queen tilted her head. I would expect nothing else. She returned to the throne and finally sat. Rest now, human, she said. Tomorrow I will tell you what I desire. The chamber lights brightened slightly. And then, she added. The floor beneath Elias shifted, forming a path away from the throne. As he was guided out, Elias understood one thing clearly. Humanity was no longer being judged as weak or strong. They were being judged as necessary. And that was far more dangerous. The chamber given to him was quiet, warm, and carefully shaped to human comfort. The walls glowed softly, changing color with his breathing. The bed adjusted to his body as if it had known him for years. It was too perfect. Elias lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the queen's words. Necessary. Humanity had spent centuries trying to prove it deserved to exist among the stars. Now the most powerful ruler in the galaxy was suggesting something worse, that humans were not just allowed to exist, but needed. That kind of attention had never ended well in human history. When the light shifted to a brighter tone, Elias knew the rest period was over. The walls opened silently, and the same unseen guidance led him back through the living corridors. The throne chamber looked different this time. It was smaller, not physically but emotionally. The space felt focused, as if everything unnecessary had been removed. No court members stood nearby, no guards, only the queen waited resting on her throne. She was already watching him. You considered my words, she said as he approached. Yes, Elias replied. I couldn't do much else. Good, the queen said. This conversation requires thought. Elias stopped at the same place as before. He did not bow. The queen did not ask him to. For a moment neither spoke. Then the queen said, Do you understand why your presence here is unusual? Elias nodded slowly. You could have asked humanity anything through official channels. You chose not to? Correct, she replied. Governments speak in defense. Leaders speak in fear. I wanted a human who could speak without armor. Elias felt the weight of that expectation. I will speak plainly now, the queen said, because what I desire cannot be hidden behind ceremony. The air shifted again. Images formed, but not of Earth this time. They showed the galaxy, star systems linked by glowing lines, trade routes, borders. Vast regions under the queen's rule. Then the images changed. Those same systems slowed. Ships traveled the same paths again and again. Cities repeated the same designs, no new patterns, no new ideas. This is my empire, the queen said. Stable, peaceful, eternal. Her voice hardened slightly. And dying. The images froze. Elias watched carefully. Your people live longer than humans. They have more resources, more knowledge. Why would they be dying? The queen looked at him with sharp intensity. Because nothing new is born here anymore. She rose from the throne. My people have solved every problem they are willing to face, she said, so they face no more. She turned toward Elias. Tell me, human, what happens to your kind when you believe you have solved everything? Elias did not answer right away. He thought of old human stories, of golden ages that ended in collapse, of societies that believed they were complete. We fall apart, he said finally, or we create new problems without understanding them. The queen's eyes gleamed. Exactly, she stepped closer. My advisors believe the solution is expansion, she said. More territory, more control, more order. Her tone made it clear she did not agree. I believe the solution is struggle. Elias felt a chill. Struggle brings suffering, he said. Humans know that well. Yes, the queen replied, and yet you accept it. She gestured again and new images appeared. Human engineers arguing over broken machines, scientists debating impossible theories, colonists risking failure on harsh worlds. You invite uncertainty, the queen said. You argue. You disagree, you fail in public. She paused. And then you improve. Elias frowned. You're saying your people don't fail? They are not allowed to, she said. Failure is considered inefficiency. Inefficiency is corrected. Elias understood now. A civilization that never failed also never learned anything new. The queen returned to her throne but remained standing. This brings us to what I desire, she said. The chamber felt smaller again. I want humanity to teach my people how to struggle. The words hung in the air. Elias stared at her, certain he had misunderstood. Teach, struggle, he repeated. Yes, the queen said calmly, not violence, not chaos. That is why I summoned a human, not a manual. Elias felt a deep unease. You're asking us to change your civilization, he said. That kind of influence could unmake us, the queen finished. Or save us. She looked directly at him. And that is the risk I am willing to take. Elias took a careful step forward. Why us? There are other species who adapt. The queen's expression darkened. They adapt to survive environments, she said. You adapt to survive yourselves. That struck Elias harder than he expected. Humans create problems and then grow from them, she continued. You argue your way forward, you fail publicly, you allow disagreement. She lowered her voice slightly. My people fear that. Elias exhaled slowly. And if we refuse? The queen did not hesitate. Then my advisors will act, she said. They will remove humanity before your influence spreads. Elias felt a cold knot form in his stomach. So this is a threat, he said quietly. The queen shook her head. It is a consequence, she replied. I do not wish to destroy your species, she paused, but stagnation terrifies my people more than extinction. Elias looked down for a moment, gathering his thoughts. You're asking humanity to become an example, he said, to expose your people to failure, doubt, conflict. Yes, the queen said, in controlled ways. Elias looked up sharply. Controlled struggle is not real struggle. The queen studied him closely. That is your answer? No, Elias said. It's a warning. Silence stretched between them. Finally, the queen said, explain. Humans don't grow because we plan to, Elias said. We grow because we don't have a choice, because things break, because plans fail. He met her gaze. If you try to copy that without understanding it, you may break your empire. The queen was silent for a long time. Then she said something unexpected. That is why I need humans involved directly. Elias' heart skipped. Involved how? He asked. By working alongside my people, she said. By failing with them, by showing them how to continue. Elias felt the full weight of her desire then. This was not about advice. This was about partnership or control or something dangerously close to both. You're asking us to place humans inside your civilization, Elias said. That would change us too. Yes, the queen said simply. Elias laughed once softly. You're asking for mutual risk. The queen inclined her head. That is how growth begins, Elias straightened. I can't answer this alone, he said. This affects all of humanity. I know, the queen replied. That is why I am not asking for an answer today. She stepped back, returning fully to her throne. I will test you first, she said. Test us how? Elias asked. The queen's eyes gleamed with quiet intensity. By seeing whether humans truly do what you claim, she said, when placed where there is no correct answer. The chamber lights dimmed slightly. Tomorrow, the queen said. Now the galaxy itself wanted to learn how. And Elias was not sure whether that would save everyone or change them forever. The room was not alive like the rest of the palace. It was clean, smooth, and almost empty. The walls were dark and silent. The floor was flat and still. It felt artificial in a place where everything else breathed. That alone made Elias uneasy. Around him stood several Virelians. They were taller than Elias, their movements precise and calm. Their eyes watched him with quiet focus, not hostility, but something close to doubt. These were not soldiers, they were thinkers, engineers, strategists. The queen watched from above, seated on a raised platform grown into the wall. She was not distant, but she was clearly in control. "This is the first trial," the queen said. "There are no enemies here." A star system appeared, planets, stations, and ships moving along familiar paths. "This is a simulation," the queen said, "based on a real system within my empire." The image zoomed in on a massive energy station orbiting a pale blue star. "This station provides power to 7 inhabited worlds," she continued. "It has functioned perfectly for 300 cycles." Elias frowned slightly. Perfect systems tend to hide problems. Several Virelians shifted at that. The queen's eyes flickered with interest. "Moments ago," she said. "So what's expected of us?" "Solve it," the queen said. "Together." The Virelians stepped closer to the display. Data streamed rapidly, numbers, symbols, complex models. Elias understood almost none of it. The Virelians, however, moved with confidence. They began analyzing instantly, their communication precise and efficient. Primary systems intact. No deviation from optimal parameters. Energy flow within acceptable limits. Minutes passed, nothing changed. The anomaly continued to grow. Elias watched quietly. Finally, he spoke. "Have you considered that your data might be wrong?" Several Virelians turned toward him. One of them spoke, their voice calm but firm. "Our data is accurate." Elias nodded. "I'm sure it is, but accuracy doesn't always mean usefulness." The Virelian paused. The queen leaned forward slightly. "Explain," she said. Elias stepped closer to the display. "Humans run into this problem often. When something breaks in a way we don't expect, we stop trusting the system and start questioning assumptions." The Virelians exchanged glances. "Assumptions are verified," one said. "They do not fail." Elias smiled faintly. "They always fail eventually." The anomaly suddenly expanded. A section of the station shut down. The Virelians reacted instantly, adjusting models and reallocating power. Still, the problem grew. Elias felt the pressure rise. "May I?" he asked. The queen gestured her approval. Elias pointed to a small data cluster. "This part here, what does it do?" A Virelian answered. "It balances energy flow automatically." "And when was the last time it was tested manually?" Elias asked. The Virelian hesitated. "Manual testing is unnecessary," they said. "The system is self-correcting." Elias nodded. "Until it is." Silence. The queen's gaze sharpened. Elias continued. "Humans assume systems will fail. We plan for it, sometimes badly, but we plan." He looked at the Virelians. "You don't plan for failure, you plan to prevent it." The anomaly surged again. One of the simulated planets lost power. The Virelians stiffened. "This outcome was not predicted," one said. Elias exhaled. "That's the point." The queen spoke. "Human Elias, what would your species do?" Elias thought for a moment. "We would break the system on purpose," he said. The Virelians reacted immediately. "That would cause collapse," one said sharply. "Yes," Elias replied, "but a controlled collapse." He pointed again. "Shut down non-essential functions, force the system to show you where it's weak." The Virelians looked at the queen. She said nothing. The anomaly continued to spread. Finally, she spoke. "Proceed." The Virelians hesitated but obeyed. Sections of the simulated station powered down. Efficiency dropped sharply. Warnings filled the display. Then something changed. The anomaly stopped growing. Data patterns shifted, revealing a hidden feedback loop, an error masked by too much automation. One of the Virelians spoke quietly. "The system was correcting itself incorrectly." Elias nodded. "It was too good at hiding its own mistakes." The Virelians worked quickly now, adjusting the design, allowing limited inefficiency. The station stabilized. Power returned to the planets. The simulation ended. Silence filled the chamber. The queen studied the final data. "You allowed failure," she said to Elias. "Yes," he replied, "so we could learn." She turned to her people. "You resisted the idea," she said. "Why?" One Virelian answered. "Failure represents weakness." The queen looked back at Elias. "And yet," she asked. Elias spoke softly. "Failure is information." The queen was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "This was a simple trial." The floor shifted. The chamber expanded, revealing new doors opening around them. "The next trials will not be," she continued. Elias felt his stomach tighten. You will face uncertainty, the Queen said. Conflicting goals. They will work with you, the Queen said, and they will resist you. Elias nodded slowly. That sounds familiar. The Queen's eyes gleamed. You have passed the first trial, she said. Not because you solved the problem, she paused, but because you changed how my people approached it. The Virelians around Elias watched him differently now, not as a curiosity, but as a variable. As the chamber lights dimmed again, Elias realized something important. The Queen was not testing whether humans were smart. She was testing whether humans could survive being copied, and whether the galaxy was ready for the cost of learning how. Elias was walking through a corridor when the floor changed beneath his feet. The living walls pulled back, and the space opened into a wide hall filled with light and sound. Screens formed in the air. Virelians appeared around him more than before. This time they were not calm. Their voices overlapped in sharp, controlled tones. Data moved fast across the displays. Symbols changed colors, flashing warning signs Elias did not recognize. The Queen's voice echoed through the hall. This trial involves conflict, she said. Not external, Elias frowned. Internal conflict? Yes, the Queen replied. Within a system, within a population. The images on the screens shifted. A Virelian world appeared bright, ordered, and perfectly designed. Its cities were balanced, its energy stable, its people productive. Then the data changed, production slowed, efficiency dropped. The world did not collapse, but it hesitated. This population has encountered disagreement, the Queen said, two solutions to the same problem. Elias studied the display, and disagreement is unusual. It is inefficient, one of the Virelians said. Resources are wasted when unity is broken. Elias nodded slowly. And what's the problem they disagree about? The display zoomed in. The issue was simple, energy distribution. One group wanted to maintain current systems. Another wanted to redesign them for long-term flexibility, even if it reduced short-term output. Elias sighed quietly. This is normal for humans. The Virelians looked at him. Disagreement weakens stability, one said. Or it strengthens the future, Elias replied. The Queen did not interrupt. Your task, she said. Terrible at forcing agreement without cost. The Virelians began their analysis. They calculated outcomes, efficiency curves, and long-term projections. Their models quickly selected the solution with the highest immediate stability. The debate should have ended there. It did not. The opposing group refused to comply. Efficiency dropped further. Frustration spread among the Virelians in the chamber. Non-compliance must be corrected, one said. Elias stepped forward. What does corrected mean? The Virelian hesitated. Persuasion, they said. If necessary, authority. Elias shook his head. That will end the disagreement, but it won't solve the problem. The Queen turned her gaze to him. Explain, she said. When humans disagree, Elias said, forcing unity often creates resentment. That resentment doesn't disappear, it waits. He pointed at the display. You can silence one side, but the issue will come back worse. The Virelians processed this. Allowing disagreement reduces efficiency, one said. Yes, Elias replied, in the short term. The disagreement on the simulated world intensified. Protests appeared, not violent but widespread. Work slowed. Systems lagged. The Virelians grew tense. Stability is declining, one said. Elias felt the pressure. Let them argue, he said. Several Virelians turned sharply. That will worsen the outcome, one insisted. Maybe, Elias said, or maybe they'll find something you didn't model. The Queen watched closely. Time passed in the simulation. The debate continued. Then something unexpected happened. A third proposal emerged from neither original group. It combined parts of both plans, offering a phased redesign that preserved current output while slowly increasing flexibility. The data shifted. Efficiency stabilized. Long-term projections improved. The disagreement did not vanish, but it became productive. Silence filled the chamber. One Virelian spoke softly. This solution was not predicted, Elias nodded. That's what happens when you don't control the argument. The Queen's eyes glowed faintly. You allowed inefficiency, she said, and gained innovation. Yes, Elias replied, that's the trade. The trial ended, but the tension did not. The Virelians began to speak among themselves, quieter now. Some looked thoughtful, others looked uneasy. One approached Elias directly. Your methods reduce certainty, they said. Yes, Elias replied. Certainty is safety, the Virelian said. Sometimes, Elias said, sometimes it's a cage. The Violin did not respond. The queen rose from her position. This trial is complete, she said, but its effects will continue. She turned to her people. You have seen what happens when control loosens, she said. You have also seen what emerges. She looked back at Elias. Human, do you see the danger now? Elias nodded slowly. Yes. Speak it, she commanded. You're not just changing systems, Elias said. You're changing how your people think about authority. The queen inclined her head. And that frightens them, she said. Elias met her gaze. It should. The queen studied him carefully. My advisors warned me, she said. Because stagnation will destroy it anyway. Silence followed. Then the queen did something no one expected. She dismissed the simulation. All displays vanished. You have completed the second trial, she said, but now comes the most dangerous phase. Elias felt a chill. My people are beginning to question, she said. Not systems, not models. She looked directly at him. Me. Elias understood the risk instantly. If humans became symbols of change, they could also become targets. What happens next? He asked. The queen stepped closer, her presence heavy. Now, she said. And in the queen's empire, trust was far more fragile than failure. The palace was quieter now. Not calm, careful. The living corridors still opened for him, still guided his steps, but something in their movement had shifted. They responded more slowly, as if listening to more than one command. That alone told Elias everything. The queen's empire was no longer perfectly unified. When Elias entered the throne chamber, he immediately saw the difference. The court had returned. Dozens of Violins stood in wide arcs around the chamber. Their posture was controlled, but their attention was divided. Some watched the queen, some watched Elias, a few watched both. The queen sat upon her throne, tall and still, her expression unreadable. You are aware of the situation, she said as Elias approached. Yes, Elias replied carefully. Your people are questioning authority. They are questioning change, the queen corrected, and the source of it. Elias understood, humans. The queen gestured and the court shifted, forming a clear path between them. You have demonstrated the value of uncertainty, she said. You have shown that controlled disorder can create growth. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Now my people wish to know why you should be allowed to continue. A Violin stepped forward. Human, they said, their voice firm. Your influence spreads faster than logic. Elias listened without interrupting. When the voices stopped, he spoke calmly. You invited this, he said to the queen. She inclined her head. I did, she said, and I do not regret it. A ripple moved through the court. The queen rose. Enough, she said, and the chamber fell silent. The time for observation has ended, she turned to Elias. Now comes decision. The floor beneath them shifted, forming a raised platform between the queen and Elias. Symbols formed in the air, formal, binding. Elias recognized the gravity of the moment. Humanity is offered a role, the queen said, a permanent one. Elias' heart pounded. Speak it, he said. The queen's voice echoed clearly through the chamber. You will become official catalysts within my empire. Murmurs spread instantly. Humans will be placed inside governance structures, she continued. Advisory councils, development systems, strategic planning. Elias felt a chill. This was more than influence. This was power. In return, the queen said, with this alliance, humanity would never fear extinction again. No empire would challenge them. No border would close. Human ideas would spread across the stars, too easily. Elias looked around at the court. Some Violins looked hopeful. Others looked afraid. He spoke slowly. If humans take this role, he said. A Violin stepped forward sharply. You dare reject an offer of this magnitude? Elias met their gaze. I dare question it, he said. The queen raised one limb, silencing the court. Speak freely, she said to Elias. This choice must be honest. Elias took a breath. Humans don't grow well when we're comfortable, he said. When power becomes guaranteed, we stop questioning ourselves. The queen's eyes narrowed. You're offering us safety, Elias said, but safety has never been what made us strong. A stir ran through the court. You fear power, one Violin said. No, Elias replied. We respect it. He turned back to the queen. If humans become part of your ruling structure, he said. Because once we rule with you, we stop challenging you. Silence followed. The queen slowly descended from her throne, stepping down until she stood level with Elias. You believe distance preserves honesty, she said. Yes, Elias replied. Influence works best when it can say no. The Queen studied him for a long moment. Then she asked quietly, "What would you propose instead?" Elias had hoped she would ask that. "Let humans remain independent," he said. "Let us collaborate, not govern." The Queen's gaze hardened slightly. "That offers less control," she said. "Yes," Elias agreed, "and more risk." The court reacted instantly. "Unacceptable," one Violian said. "Risk must be managed." Elias did not look away. "Risk must be lived," he said. The Queen turned slowly, facing her court. "You have seen what certainty has given us," she said, "and what it has taken." She turned back to Elias. "If I accept your proposal," she said. "And to walk away," the Queen added. Elias nodded. "Yes." The Queen was silent for a long time. Then she did something that shocked the entire court. She lowered herself slightly, not a bow, but a gesture of acknowledgement. "Humanity," she said. A wave of reaction swept the chamber: confusion, relief, fear. "Instead," the Queen continued. "And we will endure it," the Queen said. She turned back to Elias. "This is your final trial," she said, "not of intellect," she met his gaze, "but of restraint." Elias felt the weight of it settle. He had not saved humanity by accepting power. He had saved it by refusing to rule. As the chamber lights dimmed, Elias understood something clearly. The Queen was not afraid of losing control. She was afraid of losing the chance to change. And now the galaxy was watching. The Queen chose something far greater. Across the Violian Dominion, across allied systems, and across every listening post in known space, a signal activated. It did not override systems or force attention. It simply appeared clear and undeniable. Elias stood on a platform grown from the living palace, high above the capital world. The sky above shimmered with soft light. The city below was silent, waiting. Beside him stood the Queen. For the first time since Elias had met her, she did not sit on a throne, she stood. That alone sent a message stronger than any words. The Queen looked out across the stars and began to speak. "People of the Dominion," her voice carried, calm and steady, "and those beyond our borders who listen." Images formed in the sky, scenes from the trials. Humans and Violians working together, arguments, failure, adjustment, success born from uncertainty. "For centuries," the Queen continued, "it was also our greatest weakness." A ripple of quiet unease spread across the city. "We removed uncertainty," she said, "and in doing so we removed growth." She turned slightly, her gaze passing over Elias but not resting on him. "Then we encountered humanity." Across the stars, other species listened closely. Humans were still considered small, young, unstable. The Queen's next words changed that forever. "They did not offer us dominance," she said. "They did not offer us obedience." The images showed Elias refusing the throne. "They offered us challenge." Silence followed. "I invited them to rule beside me," the Queen said, "and they refused." A wave of reaction moved through the Dominion. Refusal of power was not understood. "They refused," the Queen continued. "Failures rebuilt, broken worlds made livable again. Humans do not survive because they are perfect," she said. "They survive because they adapt." She turned back to the city below. "From this moment forward," the Queen declared. Elias felt his chest tighten. "They will not rule us." A pause. "They will walk beside us." The message spread instantly. Across the galaxy, leaders stared in disbelief. The Queen of the Dominion, the most absolute ruler known, had chosen partnership over control. "Humans will remain independent," she said, "free to disagree, free to fail, free to leave." Some Violians shifted uneasily. "And we," the Queen continued. "You may speak." Elias did not expect that. For a moment he said nothing. Then he stepped forward, looking out at a galaxy that was suddenly listening to a single human voice. "We didn't come here to change anyone," Elias said. "We came here because you asked us to explain who we are." He took a breath. "Humans argue," he said simply. "We make mistakes. We get things wrong." Images shifted to show human failures, broken ships, failed colonies, empty cities slowly rebuilt. "But we keep going," Elias continued, "not because we think we're special." He looked up at the Queen, "but because stopping has never been an option." He turned back to the stars. "If there's one thing humanity can share," he said, "we don't grow by avoiding failure. We grow by surviving it together." The signal ended. The sky returned to normal. For a long time, nothing happened. Then the galaxy reacted. Messages flooded interstellar networks. Some empires expressed fear, others curiosity. A few sent quiet requests for observation, for dialogue, for contact with humans. Humanity was no longer just another species. It was an idea. Back in the palace, Elias stood once more alone with the queen. "You've changed everything," Elias said quietly. The queen regarded him. "No," she said, "I have allowed change." She looked out across her world. "Some will resist," she said. "Some will blame you." Elias nodded. "We're used to that." The queen studied him closely. "Do you regret refusing my offer?" she asked. Elias thought for a moment. "No," he said. "Power ends questions. We need questions." The queen inclined her head. "Then you understand your true role." Elias frowned slightly. "Which is?" "To remain inconvenient," the queen said. Elias laughed softly. "That might be the most human job description I've ever heard." The queen did not smile, but her eyes softened. "You will return to your people," she said, "and you will tell them what you have seen." "Yes," Elias said. "Some will not believe you," she added. "That's normal too," Elias replied. The queen turned away, gazing at the stars. "The galaxy will change," she said. "Not because humans command it," she paused, "but because they refuse to stop becoming something new." When Elias finally departed the capital world, there was no escort of warships, only open space. When his ship entered human-controlled territory, the messages began immediately: questions, fear, hope, disbelief. Humanity had not gained an empire. They had gained something more dangerous: expectation. Across the stars, civilizations began to prepare, not for invasion but for uncertainty. And somewhere deep in the Dominion, the Queen watched systems change, arguments begin, and new ideas form. For the first time in centuries, her empire was uncomfortable and alive.